104.7 The K, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream.
Oh, we almost said the wrong thing.
Episode 198. This week was my pick. It was a documentary series that's actually been out for a long time. It started out
it has been out for a while.
Podcast, actually, before I think History Channel picked it up. But it was like one of those nights where my wife and I were just like sitting around like, what should we watch? And she saw it and was like, let's start it. And we started watching The Food That Built America. And now, of course, there are multiple seasons of this show. I think they're actually starting or just finished their 5th season. But the first season of this was just 3 episodes, and that is what we're going to be talking and focusing. I didn't want to just throw all this crap.
Yeah, it would have been a lot. It would have been a lot.
So we just focused on really the titans of industry in the beginning, or at least the food that built America, which dealt with the Kellogg brothers, Post, and Henry Heinz, along with
Hershey.
Mr. Hershey.
Yeah.
So
the chocolate man.
Who do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. The cereal war guys was
Kellogg,
pretty cool. Yeah, a little nefarious action. I like some nefarious action sometimes.
Right, we'll go straight into the Kellogg's. All right, before that, before the Post and Kellogg war started, Dr. Kellogg was a health guy, and he had basically a little kind of thing where you would pay in today's money. It was like what, several $1,000s essentially. To go there and do a bunch of stuff that he believed would either fix what was ailing you.
Do some Tai Chi.
Do stretching. You would follow a very strict diet.
Eat bland cereal.
Which included what they had developed, which was their Kellogg cereal. They immediately saw the potential of this stuff, but the doctor didn't want to sell it outside. He was like, look, it's part of my regiment. I want it to be here. It's kind of short-sighted in my opinion. His brother, however, was like, bro, we gotta try to do this. Also, what'd you think about the whole yogurt situation?
The yogurt situation that I don't know, refresh my
memory.
Part
of one of his things to help cure you was to take some yogurt and stick it somewhere.
Oh, how did I miss that part?
I don't know. I figured that would have been the first thing
how did I miss
what to do with the yogurt.
You thought that's why I wanted to talk about this.
I was like, now I know why Jay has so much yogurt in the fridge up here.
Gosh.
At the station.
How did I miss that? That would have made this documentary a lot better.
Like, wait a minute. What? Oh, yeah.
I might have already started tuning out at this point.
Yeah, he'd already started tuning out. That's pretty early in the show. But yeah, that was part of the Kellogg's, and it's famous to know that they did that. But anyway, in the middle of this, a guy who suffered from, I think, what they inevitably feel like he had appendicitis, which is just so stupid that he would go through years and years and years of pain and not just deal with this. So he goes to Dr. Kellogg, and while he's there, he sees some really cool stuff that essentially they were trying to use as part of the regimen. He's like, oh my God, this stuff's great. I'm going to eat this. This is great. It makes my stomach feel better. I love this.
A simple little easy breakfast.
So while the Kellogg's wouldn't do anything with it, Mr. Post leaves the stuff and starts selling his own cereal.
Steals the recipes or whatever. Yeah.
And inevitably that would start a war because finally the brother convinces the other brother to start his own. He ends up at one point the factory burns down.
Yeah, there was a lot of fires back in the day in these factories.
This stuff is just crazy. Like Post is like, okay, how do I compete with this guy? He's got this mill contraption thing. I'm going to buy all of them. Yeah. Buys all of them in the country. So, and has a contract with the maker that says you cannot sell to anyone else but me. So then Kellogg's place burns down and he needs to get the new machinery, but they're like, dude, sorry.
We don't got it. Yeah, there was a lot of
he gets smart and goes, does the
stuff.
contract say anything about repairing the ones I already have? And he's like,
so they
doesn't
rifle through them.
So he goes back through the fire, finds what he can, and they basically build him new ones, which is, it was just like the infighting between those dudes, especially the cereal wars, was just like, oh my God. But these guys were just so ahead of their time and really looked at what was happening with the industrialization of America and assembly lines.
Right? Yeah.
It was just so brilliant. Either way, we'll talk about more about the food that built America, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 198, discussing the food that built America. So another person they talk about was Milton Hershey, who decides to build his town in Pennsylvania. Also
literally had to build a town to get people to work.
But it was, I mean, by all accounts, a utopia for the most part. I mean, even during the Great Depression, nobody lost their job. And for literally like 99% of the country, if you had a job, the chances are you didn't have a job after that. And so he figured out a way to keep that town afloat and keep it going, especially when a time period where how many people had money to buy chocolate?
Right.
But
you
they
think
actually,
it's a delicacy.
they
right?
actually made a good point is that stuff was actually cheaper, right? Certain candy bars were cheaper than food and meals. And some of them like the Payday or the Good Day bar, stuff like that. They like touted them as like being essentially a meal,
a meal
in a bar.
They still do. Snickers,
the protein stuff.
Yeah, like this, they tout Snickers as a meal replacement.
Yeah, which it's a lot of sugar, man, and you're gonna crash.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah,
you need to get the protein. But anyway, so that was brilliant in my opinion. Also, the battle between him and the Mars brothers, I thought was pretty cool, especially since these guys. The crazy story about that was that the Mars son, he's kind of like, I need to get a little bit more piece of this company. And his father is like, look, you haven't done anything to earn this. You're my kid, sure, but this is the company I built, right? So they have a falling out. He leaves, then partners with the head guy, one of the head guys at Hershey, for this new candy-coated chocolate, which would inevitably be M&Ms.
Yeah, brilliant. That's the brilliant
Gets
move.
a contract with the military to serve all the GIs overseas with these little tubes of M&Ms. They come back, they're like, this stuff is the best. He ends up making enough money on his own to go back and rebuy his father's company. You think your dad's proud of you now?
That's the baller play.
Bro, your dad's proud of you now. I don't know if you felt that, but if I built an empire and my kid was kind of a dirtback, I was like, you're going to have to figure this out on your own.
Comes back and buys it.
Comes back and takes it. I'm like, you are the man.
You got it, buddy.
That was a good story. Either way, we'll be back. Talk some more about other dudes like Heinz. Next, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Stevens, Mike the intern in the studio. We reversed spots. It's Dark Side of the Stream.
Whoa, what happened?
I don't know. I pressed the wrong button first. Episode 198, discussing the food that built America. So the final episode still talks about Hershey. I thought, or Heinz, Kellogg post Hershey, and then starts to kind of build the foundation of what would go on to be the fast food world. Before we get into that, though, I thought another thing that was pretty interesting was the whole Heinz revolution up until that point with condiments, stuff that you would buy in the store. Consumers did not trust.
They could put whatever they wanted in there. There was nobody to
strychnine to cut it, arsenic. I mean, it was just like, dude. So he's the first guy that's like, you know what? Clear bottles. That's the way we
clear bottles, so they can see our product. And then other people started using it. So what did he do? He buys all the clear bottles and then dumps them in the river.
So it's like, there's so much. They're very shrewd businessmen, and they're going to do everything they can to destroy the competition. But I thought that was ingenious. I mean, think about that. Turn of the century, we had thought,
and he sent his kid, right?
Clear bottles at this point. We weren't trying to.
And he sent his kid to Congress, right, to talk to the president about getting regulations on
FDA?
food.
Creates
the FDA.
And Heinz and his kid were literally the ones that created the FDA. The whole idea that we can go buy something at the grocery store and it's not going to kill
safe
us.
About it, right?
Before that, it didn't matter.
His sales pitch was good that they did to the guy.
West situation. The last part about this, which I thought was just brilliant, was the story of the McDonald's brothers, which they are touted as the ones who come up with the whole assembly line, fast food, a quick service thing, but they weren't really the first fast food place. White Castle, interestingly enough, was out of Wichita, Kansas, which was also very interesting to me. Wichita, Kansas started White Castle. They also started Pizza Hut. Wichita, you ever been to Wichita?
No.
It just blows my mind. It's two of those places came out of Wichita, but that just also goes to show you there's literally nothing to do in Kansas but eat. So McDonald's brothers, they trained the dudes from Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, Burger King, how to do their system. They didn't care. They were just like, we're running one store in California. That's it. We don't care. And then eventually Mr. Kraut comes through and he's like, hey, what's going on? Let me buy this from you. And then he ends up having to raise I think it was like 23 million eventually is what he paid. It was something like that, or maybe it was like 2.3 million or something. It wasn't a lot considering the fact that how much money those guys continue to make to this very day.
Well, we skipped over the part where the one dude showed up at the guy's funeral to buy for $300 or whatever, buy the company from the wife and the son.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
dude.
I mean, but again, like I said,
scandalous people.
I skipped over, but I already said they're
scandalous people.
The shrewdness between these guys and what they would do. I mean, at one point, I think one of the guys in Burger King actually went into Chicago to meet Ray and to say, "Hey, man, we're just an up and coming business out of Miami. We really like your system. You know, we actually went to this McDonald's Brothers thing years ago. Do you have any advice?" And he goes, "Good luck." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean? Don't shoot me like that." And he's like, "I'm going to kill you. I kill everyone in this industry. You're not going to come. Everyone that tries cannot take me on."
Well, and I believe some of these fires were probably not accidents, right? And these big, when these companies were burning down, I feel like that was probably competitors.
So that was another part of it too that I thought was interesting is the ingenuity in some of the factory stuff, because like how dangerous factory work was at that point. And then some of these guys that were like competing, post builds a factory, then the Kellogg's build one across the river, and it's double the size, and it's just like this constant measuring contest. But also at the time, through that competition comes insane innovation and ingenuity, and also safety. So the fact that we can eat stuff and not, get extremely sick. Again, I'm going through the Wyatt Earp documentary, and it's like, you got shot, you're dead. It's just because of bacteria. And that wasn't 150 years ago. Wasn't that long ago, man. That a lot of this stuff was pretty shaky. Either way, we'll be back with our review next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 198. How many boxes of saltine crackers are you going to get this one?
I did not get quite the same fulfillment out of this that you did. I'm going to go with a 2. Ooh. I kind of don't like the docudrama style documentaries, so I started to tune those out a little bit. But
obviously, if you missed the whole yogurt thing,
that would have gave it a 3 if I would have known they were putting yogurt in places.
Maybe should
I don't know how I missed that, but
I don't know.
I'm doing a lot of stuff.
I personally love it. I think if you are in management or you run a company, whether it's a big business, small business,
if you want to become a businessman, probably good to watch,
or you're just curious about stuff. There is something for everyone to take from this, and how these guys ran their companies. Some of them that did really well, and how they treated their employees and how they boosted them up. I thought it was interesting at the Hershey story when the factory workers eventually decided to unionize. The farmers come in and start beating the hell out of them all. Like, shut up! What are you doing? Or
it was definitely grassroots.
I mean,
a lot of fighting and burning stuff down.
So many things I didn't know.
It's cool.
But yeah, very cool series to watch. Jay, next week is your pick. What are we watching?
I had one, and I can't remember what the name of it was, so I'm going to have to default to Dirty Pop. The story about the guy behind all the boy bands like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all those guys.
I thought we watched that one.
It's a new one. It's something different, but I feel like we did talk about this guy before, but it was good. And it's got a clever use of AI in this one, a very interesting use of AI.
Okay, so, I guess we'll watch Dirty Pop.
Dirty Pop, it just came out.
Jake
it's on
talk
Netflix,
about bumping the Backstreet Boys in his Jeep in LA in the early 2000s. I'm Mike the Intern. That's Jay Stevens. Watch us do this every Thursday at 9 a.m. or 6 p.m.
I'm on the wrong side now. I'm not sure which way to point.
YouTube. We do it as a podcast for free on our 104.7 The Cave. We're on the air. It's 9 a.m. or 6 p.m. I'm Mike the Intern. That's Jay Stevens. Reminding you,
we watch documentaries, so you don't have to.
Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.